Good evening. Hope everybody's doing all right. I gonna start out. This kind of gonna be a little bit of a weird show. I don't have any tabs open like I normally do to start out. None at all. I've just got the Twitter feed backed up till Friday morning, and because there's really not so much headlines that I felt I could pull out from today to really emulate what's up. And so before we get started, full transparency, those that have come around here for a little while know that I suffer from a few issues. One of those issues is PTSD. And I'm probably suffering my second worst bout of PTSD in my entire life, and have been for the last several days, and it's not fun. So if I seem a little bit off to you, understand that I've got a war going on in my head that it's a hell of a one. So the news isn't about me, hopefully. This deal with this balloons, the reason I titled the show what I did, because, okay, understand that right now I'm under a heightened sense, if you will, because of the earlier issues I mentioned. After the announcement of the balloon in China, it went quiet. And I get, by the way, howdy to Amazing TV and Caesar. Thank you guys for joining me. I don't know if Super Bowl's still going on, but if you chose me over Super Bowl, that's awesome. Awesome to all of you. If you chose me, I don't know if it's still going on or not. Yes, thank you, Hexapus. Howdy. Yeah, the deep breathing thing doesn't work though when it's like 24/7. You know, that works when you have panic attacks and stuff like that. But when you've got the whole weight of anxiety on you that it won't let up, the deep breathing doesn't. Again, it helps with panic attacks, but this is like a nonstop. This is a continual panic attack. Is what this is like. So these balloons, like I said, after the one was reportedly over China, the news has went really quiet. And I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. Again, I know it's Super Bowl Sunday. I know that there's probably going to be a little less regular news coverage as a result of that. But it shouldn't have gone silent. And in fact, the last thing, when was the last RT? 4 hours ago. 4 hours ago was the last time that RT put out like a little headline. The top, I've talked about it before. I've got a banned extension. It's banned by Google, Chrome. But I had it beforehand, before they banned it, and so I still have it. They keep shutting it off on me, and I keep turning it on. Anyway, it's an RT extension, and what it does is anytime there's a headline up there, it shows a number, or however many headlines that are there. If it's breaking news, the number will be red. Well, 4 hours since RT has put anything out. I don't like that. That's not. Usually Sundays aren't super busy, but it don't go quiet for 4 hours. RT is not the only place I look for news and information, obviously. But a lot of places just really, it's kind of like they're real. I don't know. They're really not. I mean, they're avoiding anything that is remotely serious from what I've seen. It's crazy. Let me catch up there on the chat. Yeah, it is still on. Yeah, I figured it probably was, but I wasn't sure. I haven't watched. I don't think in my entire life I have watched a Super Bowl game. I don't think so. Um, I'm catching up on chat. Yeah, anxiety's nuts, man, and I've dealt with it my entire life. There's never been a time that I know of that I haven't dealt with it. But it's usually, thankfully, not like this. But I've myself personally, I've put myself on kind of a bad path. After all that happened with my family, uh, I met Jen, her and I got together and stuff. But I've completely, for the most part, other than the news show, kept to myself. And that's not healthy. It's not healthy. So I need to fix that. I think I know how to fix the problem. I just hope I can. So yeah. Oh, you just added RTs to Opera, huh? Yeah, I love their extension. It sucks that Google nixed it. I'm going to have to find out because I'm probably going to redo my computer Windows before super long. I got to find out where those extensions are at so I can nab that puppy and make sure I put it back in there because I guarantee you I can't get it, from their site. But anyway, back to these balloons or whatever they are. Man, I don't know. I really don't know. I believe it was Chris Martinson from Peak Prosperity was live earlier, and he was discussing it. And he had showed on the screen how easy and how affordable balloons are. Even the weather balloon types, right? I had several different sizes. Yeah, one of them was up around $500 or something, but it was like a 34-foot balloon. And so, it begs to question whether or not any of this is copycat or just people messing around. We've got that issue, that you don't know whether or not it could be that. You have the fact that there are weather balloons and stuff that people put up. You can do it. You can go get everything you need, at least still at this point. That might be changing soon enough, but at this point, you can go get everything you need to put up a weather, more or less a weather, I don't know what you'd call it, research device, what it is. You can do that yourself and go put it up and see what happens with it. It's not that big of a deal. At least it didn't used to be. So, just because these other balloons are popping up doesn't even necessarily mean they're coming from another nation. So we need to, in my opinion, we need to tread very carefully when it comes to this, as well as my concern, because if it were me, that would be my strategy. I'd put up a balloon over you and watch how you reacted. And I'd do it again. And I'd do it until your first instinct was to just knock it out of the sky. That is when I would put up the real one. Okay. How do you steer a weather balloon? Good question. And I'm pretty sure I've got the correct answer on this. Altitude. From my understanding, the air currents will go different directions depending on the altitude. So there's different types of ways you can steer them, but I think the most common way is altitude. Is how they do it. Now, how do they get it to go up and down? I've been asking. I don't know why I haven't Googled it. I've been wondering that. Ever since the first balloon, and I've never Googled it. I don't know how they actually make it go up and down. I would imagine, and this is just me guessing, I would imagine that in your system you could have a pump, and what you could do is you could actually pump the helium out of the balloon into a tank, if I'm correct on this, and if you did that, that balloon, or that helium that you pumped in the tank, it's really no longer lighter than air because it's compressed. And I think that will allow the balloon to descend. But that's on theory. I didn't look it up. That's just me thinking. My guess, that's how I would do it, or at least try to do it. But I do know that they change altitude to change direction, and in the case of the balloon, the first balloon, they said that it did have fans on it, that it actually did have fans, which would help direct it, but you're still going to be limited, because it's a balloon. You're still going to be limited on how much steering, how much control you would have, because you're fighting one hell of a wind up there. I mean, you're in the jet stream, so. But that would be my guess as to how it goes up and down. I don't know. I haven't looked it up, but that just makes sense to me. I would pump the helium out of the balloon into a tank and compress it, and I do believe that would in turn weight down the helium that would normally be expanded, that would carry it. I'm pretty sure it would weight it down. So, anyway, I'll have to look into that. Good question. I knew on the direction, like I said, I know that a lot of times it's done with altitude. So, anyway, if it were me, though, like I was saying, I would just keep putting balloons up until my adversary was competent in knocking them down, and then I'd put the one up, the one that did something, and that's kind of got me concerned as well, because are we dumb enough to fall for it? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, man. I will say, and I do believe that this goes above and beyond what I'm dealing with PTSD-wise. I am spooked. I am absolutely spooked by what's going on right now. Yeah, by the way, notice I'm drinking tea. I can't even drink coffee. I had coffee this morning. That was it. Can't even have my coffee, man. It throws my anxiety in overdrive. Sucks, man. I miss my coffee. I think as individuals, we better be making sure, as I've been saying for the last several days, making sure our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted. I hope it all blows over, and this is just another nothing. But I'm not so comfortable with just letting it go with that, because I'm not so sure that's the case. I don't know. This whole thought wears me down. I'm not, believe it or not, a conflict type of person. I don't like conflict. Believe it or not, I don't. And I especially don't like military conflict, because I try my very hardest not to let go of the fact that those are human beings. Those are people. Those are fathers, they're brothers, sisters, mothers, cousins, best friends. Those are people. They're not just numbers. And what the hell happened that two individuals that don't know each other, never met each other before, would be willing to try to kill each other. I've got big issues with that. And I always have. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. I understand it's a necessity. I do probably need to be clear with that. I understand that it's a necessity. Unfortunately, some people are going to behave badly. And unfortunately, sometimes that has to be dealt with. However, a lot of the stuff that I see going on today, man, a lot of it's greed. You know, like for instance, the United States always talks about how they care, about humanitarian causes. Oh, yeah? Really? Because I know two groups of people that the United States just sits back and watch them be slaughtered without saying a word. And in fact, the United States has actually helped out in some of that slaughtering. I don't know. I don't get it. And this is why I was never real good in social environments, because I don't get it. I don't get... I'm an odd person. I don't get why anybody, for one, even wants to take advantage of another. I don't get it. I don't. And it's got me spooked. Because I think we're on the cusp of it. And that's got me spooked for 1,000,001 reasons. 3 of which are sons that I haven't seen in a very long time. 3 of which are sons that could wind up getting pulled into it. I don't know. Just make sure you got your houses in order, folks. That's all I can tell you. I don't have a good feeling about this. Not even a little bit. And I'm trying to separate the anxiety, the feelings that I feel from the PTSD from just the feelings and then feeling about this international situation. Believe it or not, I'm actually pretty good at doing that. Kind of have a lifetime of experience at it. Man, I don't have a good feeling. I don't think this is going to end well. And I think it's going to go down quickly. So just keep that in mind. Like I said before, we've had the last few years has been very strange. Because undoubtedly, we've been dealing with an SHTF, but it was kind of a softer SHTF with a slow roll-up, and we're not out of it. We're still in it. But I don't think we're going to see what's coming. I think the next SHTF is going to hit us so fast and hard that it's going to knock the wind out of all of us, and I mean all of us, regardless of how prepared or unprepared you are. I just have a feeling. I don't know what's going on. We've got all these balloons. We've got laser beams doing stuff by Hawaii. We've got tons of new weapons by everyone involved that are being put into place right now. Oh, I can't forget about the Army's weapons. I caught that video earlier today. The Army's 2 weapons. The Southern Prepper 1, you guys probably caught it too, but the Army enlisted a couple of rappers, I guess, and they're gonna be what saves our military. So, I don't know why I'm worried. Would you have any idea why I would be worried? I don't know. Our military's worried about getting people's pronouns right. Other countries' militaries are making sure they get it right dead in the center of the skull. It's ridiculous. And I can't help but think that it's all been done on purpose. It had to have been done on purpose. There's no way. There's no way that this isn't orchestrated. I mean, we're not talking about a nation that's falling. We are talking about a nation that's being thrown down. A big difference. There's a big difference. This isn't natural. This isn't a natural fall. This is being pushed. And we have nothing to respond with. And I'm not just speaking about that in a military aspect, but let's even speak financial aspect. Do we have the money to back up our currency? Yeah, I didn't think so. So we don't have that either. So we've lost our military. We've lost the viability of our currency. I think collectively, and I'm not speaking like directly to all of you, but I think a large majority of the population has lost their compassion. And all in all, I think we lost our way. Now, I could turn this into some type of a biblical discussion, and I'm absolutely not, because there's another way that we've lost our way. That's the easy way to tell you about how we lost our way, to use religion. I'm not going to do that. I got a good one. You could associate it with religion if you wanted to. How about the people that won't donate? And that's the entity accepting the donations is 501c3. I bet you that's a way we've lost our way. And we've just generally lost our way. The compassion, the caring, the understanding, it's all gone. And believe me, I'm a nut about psychology. I know, odd, right? Well, probably because I kept trying all my life to figure out why I was so screwed up. So, what happened? The internet. How are you going to blame the internet? The internet. Because you can't just blame one thing, and the internet's not blaming one thing. Only if it were that easy. The internet has allowed us as individuals to compartmentalize ourselves. I'm a victim of it, just like pretty much everyone else is. Start to build those echo chambers up, and it's also a lot easier to judge and make calls from sitting half a country away. That also adds to it. Largely, yeah, the internet. And it was everything else along with that. It wasn't just the internet, the entertainment industry. One of those things. But everything kind of went together in its slide. Rebel, I haven't heard anything more. Like I was saying earlier in the show, ever since the one that was reported over China, it's been silent. The silence is deafening. Nothing. And like I was saying, my RT extension 4 hours ago was the last time that RT put out a headline big enough to at least put on their, not breaking news, but, notable news, if you will. So I've gotten nothing but a bunch of silence for the last several hours, and it's not good. I just, like I said, I do think that something's about ready to kick, and I don't know what all that's going to entail. So, the objects, let's see if I've got the correct score on this. Of course, we had the one off of South Carolina that was down. Then we had the one just up above Alaska, top of Alaska. Then we had one in Canada that was down. And then last night there was an anomaly spotted on the radar. And so the anomaly was spotted. It was more or less unconfirmed. Sorry, I was looking for the right words. Basically, they scrambled the fighters. The fighters went up, and they didn't see anything. Of course, it was nighttime, being that if it's a balloon, I don't know how well that'll show up on their radar. The aircraft's radar, I have no idea. But they called off the search last night. They apparently at some point today they put a NOTAM up over Lake Huron, I guess it was, or I don't remember which lake exactly, but and I don't know if they actually took that one down or not. To be honest, if they took that, I think they did. I think they actually took that one down, kinetically took that one down, the one above the Great Lakes. Then China reported an object over one of their port cities. So they were preparing to shoot it down the last I knew, and I haven't heard anything since. In fact, I don't even know if it's within the news on whether or not they did shoot it down. So, not sure on that. Not sure on that. Let's see. What do I think it is? Well, the first one, I know I'm going to make a lot of fans for this, but I think the first one was very likely a weather surveillance device or weather research device. I really do think that's the case. I honestly do. I think that the administration was embarrassed. I think they realized just how weak that they were. And I don't think it would have mattered what that balloon had when, by the time it reached the East Coast, in their mind, they had to shoot it down just to save face, regardless of what it really was about. And I think there's a whole lot of, right now, the politics in our government is so bad. None of these people care if this country crashes and burns, right? As long as they get reelected. It makes no sense to me, but that's all they're interested in doing is for themselves and for their corporate friends. That's it. And so there's nothing but game playing going on between political parties because that's what it, in their mind, is all about. And I think the first one that came over was a simple weather balloon. I really do. No, I agree. I don't like it over our ICBM bases. But, the truth of the matter is, and I looked at the air currents, the wind currents and stuff when all that was going on. And, I can't even necessarily say that was intended to do that. It followed one of the jet streams. That's kind of what happens with high altitude balloons. So was it intentional to fly over those areas? I don't know. I won't jump and say that it was, and I'm not going to say that it wasn't. But I really don't think, looking at everything involved, I'm not just looking at one side or anything like that. I am taking the whole 360-degree view here. China's response, what Xi Jinping had to say, how all of that transpired over there with Xi Jinping. I mean, it's not like when he first spoke on it, or they first spoke on it, I don't know if he was the one that first spoke on it, but whoever it was, didn't just jump to anything. They didn't. They were like, we're going to look into this. And then they came back with an answer. And to me, that looked a bit more realistic than if they just, And I really don't think that they're using some type of pseudo-psychology on us to... No, I don't believe it. I think it was a weather balloon. And I think our administration was willing to do anything at that point to try to save face. And so they took it down. Any of the other balloons from then... I really, honestly, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I don't know what they are. I can assume balloons. I was a little worried there for a bit that maybe it wasn't a balloon, but there was a report I heard that one of them was metallic in appearance, cylindrical shaped. And when they shot it down and it hit, I guess they were saying when it hit the ground, when it hit the earth, it shattered like glass. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I heard. Last I checked, Mylar doesn't shatter like glass. I'm not sure that that's what weather balloons are made out of. It's probably not. I'm sure they probably use something better than Mylar. And maybe it's not. Maybe it is Mylar or contains Mylar, but I don't know. And I don't know how true that report is. That's just what I heard. There has been some talk, some concern that these anomalies could be related to the Tic Tac ships that militaries and others have seen globally, as a matter of fact. That adds another layer on this for me. Because another thing to know about me, if you've been around very long, is I absolutely believe in life on other planets. I think we'd be absolutely nuts to not think that there was life on other planets. Moreover, I think we've had life from other planets watching us, monitoring us, and very probably even interacting with us. You're talking. He's talking about the balloon. I saw the one over the Great Lakes. I saw like a couple of different videos. One of them, I don't think it was the balloons. I think it was a plane because I saw the damn lights blinking. But the other one, I'm pretty confident was the balloon in question. So, but nothing about as far as it coming down or anything like that. So, and very limited on the amount of video and pictures. That's kind of strange now that you bring it up. That is kind of odd. So, I don't know what's going on. And again, back to what I was saying, I do believe in extraterrestrial aliens. No doubt in my mind they exist. And I could take that quite far, that subject, but I won't. Because not a whole lot of people share my belief. And I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me why they don't. But anyway, I am concerned that we could come under some type of attack from other places, if you will. And there's even been, I hate to say it, but there's even been predictions. There was, I believe, a couple of people that predicted that we were going to experience this right around now, that we would start seeing this. So I don't know. And then you've also got the other angle, and I have to include this angle, but you've got the other angle of, what would the government do next to put you in fear to gain control over you? Right? Would they stage an alien invasion? You damn right they would. If it was going to serve their benefit, if it was the only way they could see everything going into place the way they want, you damn right they would. They wouldn't bat an eye. So it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to discern. And I think that is probably the most ultimate important thing that we can do at this time as this stuff is happening is work our hardest to discern it. And then as far as our personal situation, then we need to make decisions on what we need to do. I've kind of hinted around about it might be a good time to be at least packed up to go to your bug out location. If your bug out location is somewhere away from you, yeah, you might want to have stuff at least packed up, ready to go. I will confidently say that without feeling guilty for being wrong later, okay? I'm not telling you to take off, but if you feel like taking off and going to your location, then you do it. If you have that gut instinct, if your gut's telling you to go, go. That's all I can tell you. I think when the next part of this SHTF, because like I've said, I think we've been in one for the last few years. I think when we reach the next level, which I think is probably going to be military conflict, it's going to happen quick, I think. And I think there are a lot of things that's going to happen in a rapid succession. And one of those things is going to be the grid. I pretty well guarantee you that we're going to lose the grid. So, this just in. Rihanna performed the Super Bowl halftime show while pregnant with her second child. Her representative confirms. I got that news. That news came. I guess that was important. Yeah, you're right. Jimmy commented that it's crazy. They're just they don't know what they're shooting down. They're just shooting it. Yeah, I agree. I agree. This is bizarre. This is bizarre, and it won't go away. The song 99 Red Balloons by Nina. In the back of my head, it's just playing over and over and over. I remember that song. I sang that song with, I felt that song. I back then when that song came out, I felt that fear, right? We were in the Cold War still, and yeah, I the movie The Day After came out, and that flipped me right out. I'll tell you that. And yeah, I remember it. So I guess that's why now today it keeps going on over and over in my head. But anyway, it's just nuts. Just be prepared, be ready to go, and pray for peace, pray for calm. Not just in the world, please do so for me as well. Pray for my peace and calm as well, if you will. I'm, as I've said, I'm not well. Let's see. I guess really that's about all I have. I wished I had more, but everything went so quiet and so silent, and I don't know. I'm a bit concerned. We'll just run through the headlines from Friday, and then we'll call it a night. Got the web browser here. By the way, real quick, everything should be okay for tomorrow's show. And one way or another, I'll let you know if something drastic happens. But if all goes well, I will be replacing my video card tomorrow. So just a heads up. I don't expect any issues. But it is my life. Huh? Oh, I thought, anyway. So just want to make a reminder that I am doing that, so I don't expect any issues, but it does happen. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I actually got that here ready to go. DDU. Yep. Absolutely, Leo. Yep. Gonna do that on mine, and then gonna turn around and go do it on Jen's, and put the 1650 Super in Jen's. And then next we'll try to scare her up a new CPU and a motherboard and memory and all that, and get her an entire different computer built, because that thing's ancient. Okay, let's see. Starting with the headlines from Friday, because that's how we do. Since I'm not here Friday and Saturday. Biden defends response to Chinese balloon. Yeah. Go back to eating your ice cream, buddy. Republicans push to end Ukraine aid. Record investment helped Russia survive sanctions, says Bloomberg. German inflation accelerates. A U.S. role in Kiev's artillery warfare identified, says media. China becomes top Russian food importer, says report. U.S. states warn Biden about terrorists. British economy narrowly avoids recession, says data. Missile strikes reported across Ukraine. Again, this is the news that I put out Friday morning, so those missiles would have been Thursday night for us in the U.S. Date for Putin's annual Federal Assembly address announced. Russian ex-governor sentenced a lengthy prison term. Amsterdam's red light district cracks down on cannabis. Well, that sucks. Amsterdam? Really? Well, that sucks. Anyway, U.S. tech giant to lay off fifth of workforce. I can't even say it. Fifth of workforce. Yeah, I got it. One time. EU country will not abandon Russian gas, says diplomat. NATO member denies Kiev's claim about Russian missile. Kiev sounds alarm over ammo. FBI has become politically weaponized, says former special agent. I would concur. And not just politically weaponized, it's just been plain old weaponized. Any reason people can use it, they will. Russia to cut oil production in response to Western sanctions. IOC president blasts Ukraine, says media. Yeah, you should see what some people have to go through that are in one way or another involved with a member of the FBI or someone in intelligence. I've seen quite a few of the horror stories, and it's insane, and that's why I've got an issue with their capabilities to begin with. Man, there's a lot of bullshit going on. A lot of people being tracked and checked out and all that stuff that it's personal things and not government things. Let's see. EU applicant government to be replaced. UK trade gap with EU widens, says data. Russia comments on prospects of peace treaty with Japan. Pence subpoenaed in Trump probe, says media. Oil prices spike on Russian output cuts plan. Alec Baldwin sued by Ukrainian family of slain cinematographer. A deadly attack near Jerusalem is terrorism, says Netanyahu. A U.S. museum changes Russian artist's nationality. Pentagon seeking to resume top-secret programs in Ukraine, says Washington Post. U.S. lying about Nord Stream expose, says Moscow. That information, a lot of responses came out involving that information provided by that journalist, and wow. Anyway, China comments on bombshell Nord Stream report. A Russian economy will return to growth this year, says central bank. You know, how does, and I know I'm going back, hey, at least I do it, Jen Psaki didn't. This whole thing with this report, Biden literally said, I mean, he didn't say, I'm going to go blow them up. But he made it very clear that he was going to do something that was going to put an end to those pipelines. He made it really, really clear. I've heard several different excerpts of things that he said regarding that a while back. Not just stuff that was said recently. That's just stuff that was said back way before it happened. Again, I don't have a good feeling because I see where we stand, okay? This government's not bullshitting me. They're not bullshitting me about who was responsible for the Nord Stream attack. They didn't actually bullshit me back in, 2001 when they claimed the weapons of mass destruction. I knew that was a bunch of bullshit from the get-go. Now, many other nations know that was a bunch of bullshit. Good night, Friday. Thank you. Thank you very much. Man. So all these other nations right now are looking at the United States and they're like, look, you go in, you make stuff up, you just make a mess of the place because that's what they do, right? They destroy it, and then what happens? Then what happens after the U.S. helps destroy it, whether it's through civil wars or whether it's through actual conflict or whatever? Direct conflict, I mean. What do? Well, the IMF steps up and says, well, your place is a mess. That's going to cost a lot of money to fix. But we got you. Right? We got your loans. All you got to do is sign these papers, signing these resources of yours over to us, and we got you. We got you. That's how that works. You see? Now, I'm not stupid. I get that I have a bit of intelligence that goes above and beyond. It is what it is. Actually, it's not my fault. I fed it, but it's not my fault. But I'm not the smartest person on this planet. Probably not nowhere close. And there are a whole lot of fairly intelligent people on this planet. Cannot tell me that I am the only one that has figured this out. And they're done with it. They're tired of it. And I think you're going to see a lot of nations who were once before allies switching sides because they don't want to be a party to it. And I think that's where we stand right now. I think we are currently seeing some of the countries in the EU and possibly UK, I don't know, that are starting to look at this and they're starting to say, hey, we're suffering a whole hell of a lot over here. You know, how much of what we have been warned about or fear-mongered about is true when it comes to Russia? And I think people are starting to question that right now. And I think you're going to continue to see nations back away from the United States and the United Nations because I don't think they're going to want to be a party to it. And I don't blame them. I don't want to be a party to it. Like I said, I think we're about to see the most ugly that this planet's seen in a long time. Probably the most ugly that this particular civilization has ever seen. And that's just my sober opinion. All right. Now on that happy note, I'll get back to reading headlines. Let's see. UN condemns executions of Russian POWs by Ukrainians. I don't know if I said this one or not. Russian economy will return to growth this year, says central bank. I think I did. FBI raids former U.S. vice president's home. Again, this is Friday's headlines. I'm going back over here. Pentagon shoots down unknown object flying in U.S. airspace. That would be the Alaskan one. U.S. tests nuclear-capable missile. They tested a Minuteman III. From my understanding, it was successful, which I would hope so. U.S. shoots down high-altitude object. Now, is that probably the same one for Alaska, just the RT article. Wagner boss estimates how long Ukraine conflict will last. Biden meets with Brazil's president. U.S. warns of North Korean cyber attacks. Oh, sorry. We just crossed over into yesterday's headlines. That was yesterday morning's headline. Okay, I ain't got coffee, but I gotta have a sip of my tea. Okay. EU country sees inflation smash 25%. Hold up. So Jimmy Crackcorn just had asked if I had seen DJI banned Russia and Ukraine from buying drones. No, I didn't. Wow. So, okay, Russia and Ukraine. So what they're saying is we just don't want to be a party to it. I absolutely respect DJI for that. Right on DJI. Yeah, I respect him for that. Absolutely. Turkey and Russia developing new payment system, says diplomat. U.S. unveils new sanctions on China. Study warns of rise in U.S. suicides. Again, this is yesterday's headlines I'm going over. U.S. defense official flags no objections if Kiev attacks in Crimea. We've came a long way, haven't we, since a year ago when it comes to this? I mean, a long way. Now it's okay. Russia explains stance on peace talks with Ukraine. Brazilian ex-president to chair BRICS Bank. British economy not out of the woods yet, says Chancellor. McDonald's withdraws tasteless advert near crematorium. Well, it was for crispy chicken. It was. Actually, I don't know. I'm torn. I could see how people would be bothered by it, right? This is an actual image. Hang on, I'm trying to bring it up. There you go. I mean, what do you do with that? Do you just let it go? 'Cause, you know, I get it though. Forgive me, Father. Serbia responds to cancel Russian culture calls. That sign. Man. Switzerland warned against seizing Russian assets. Iran drone attack suspects arrested, says security officials. Massive proceeds of global oil and gas industry revealed. Russia reveals who calls the shots in Ukraine conflict. Tulsi Gabbard slams dangerous Clinton following India trip. Russia and Iran to boost transactions in national currencies, says an official. A transgender double rapist not a threat to female inmates, says prison. Yeah, really. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, I know I'm not supposed to get it, but I don't get it. How many people tuned in tonight, watched the Super Bowl? How many people paid exorbitant amounts of money, even if it was to sit in a parking lot? Lots of people. Lots of people. But for some damned reason, we can't get that many people motivated at one time. To fix anything. Blows my mind. That's actually why I don't like sports. I do. I do have a prejudice against sports. And that's why. Because, you know, you'll pack that many people in a stadium, and just the amount of effort and energy they'll put into it is just incredible. But where's all that energy, where's all that effort when they're trying to indoctrinate children in schools? I'm just lost. I don't know where it's at then. Can't find people then. More and more, you can't even find parents anymore. It's mind-blowing, right? I watched, and I got to mention this. I have to, because this tears me up. I have watched a number of situations in which, like, a school resource officer got really out of hand, and or teacher, administrator, what have you, but wound up in far beyond necessary physical contact with the students. And I've seen a number of these cases to where the students would subsequently hold a walkout. And I wouldn't see one fucking, sorry for the language, parent standing there at that walkout. A number of times. And not even standing at the walkout. No less in that office demanding some answers. But you can damn well fill a stadium easy. I don't like sports. I see sports as evil. Why? Why is it evil? Well, in and of itself, it's not. But when it's used to distract people from the important things in life, it's evil. And sports, in every which way, has been used for evil in these past years. They have. And then they turned around. You notice how they, this is not by accident, by the way. You notice how they split everybody in the country? You notice how they did that? And they did it with each sport. Each one. They did it with basketball. They did it with NASCAR. Even NASCAR. It's not by accident. That wasn't happenstance. Let's see. Survivors still, and this again was yesterday's news, survivors still being found as quake death toll. Now this here tops 25,000. Last I heard was earlier today, and that was 33,000. And that was earlier today. I don't know where that's at this evening. So, part of the International Space Station depressurizes, says Roscosmos. That would probably be a freaky moment. A Russian military shares details of massive strikes on Ukraine. NASA discovery boosts hope of life on Mars. Well, good. Next thing, we'll search for intelligent life on Mars so we can bring some of it back here. German foreign, they probably wouldn't come back here. In fact, they're probably there because I left here. Anyway, German foreign minister admits blunder. Serbia may soon be forced to sanction Russia, says Vucic. Let's see. UK has secret plans for EU, says Bloomberg. Let's see. NORAD, this was the one over Canada. Report moles major boost to China's nuclear arsenal. Yeah, so we found out that, they've got a lot more than we thought they had. Yeah. I'm starting to wonder if they need to start coming to me for intelligence or something, and I don't have anything other than common sense, man. I was saying for years that North Korea had nuclear bomb capabilities, that they had nuclear capability. Everybody thought I was nuts until they set that first one off. I'm like, see? I knew it. I'm not stupid. Iran's got it. They aren't at a point to set one off. I'm not saying that they don't have one that they could set off, because I think they do. I'm just saying that they're not at a point to where they could start, or that they're going to start testing them like North Korea did. I don't know that Iran's going to do that. I'm not so sure they're going to do that. But they will stockpile them. You better believe they'll stockpile them. See, the difference between North Korea and Iran is Kim Jong-un wanted the world to know he had nuclear capability. That was kind of the whole point. With Iran, they're in a situation where they don't want the world to know. Because if the world found out undoubtedly that Iran had nuclear weapons, you better believe that there would be nations that would be hitting it at ODARC 30. Better believe it. And whatever his name is that runs Iran, he knows that. He's not an idiot. He knows that. So that's why they're keeping their nuclear weapon program under wraps as to where North Korea wanted the world to know. Totally two different kind of situations there. So, okay, we are to today's headlines after I get some tea. Yeah, I think Iran wants them. I don't think Iran wants them to start a holy war. I think they want them for defense and deterrence. But it's kind of in Iran's situation, the only way that they could do it is to have a ton of them made up, ready to go, and then let the world know. You know? If they just started testing one or two here, like I said, ODARC 30, you're going to have multiple nations moving in. And it wouldn't be easy, and it wouldn't be pretty. There probably wouldn't be a whole hell of a lot of Iran left. There probably wouldn't be. But the amount of loss from the other nations involved would be horrific. Horrific. That would not be an easy battle. I know a lot of people think, it's just Iran, a little country, they're running around in the desert. Yeah, okay. They have funneled almost every dime they could muster into short and medium range weapons. They are the most highly advanced when it comes to short and medium range weapons on the planet. You can go look that up. Not an easy job. Not a cakewalk. Let's see. Okay, today's headlines. Brazil wants Russian investment in energy sector, says an envoy. Austrian businesses not leaving Russia, says ambassador. U.S. shoots down another unidentified object. That I believe would have been the Montana one last night that didn't happen. Okay. Britain should produce weapons in Ukraine, says Telegraph. Russian agricultural exports to Gulf states surge, says envoy. Trump team canceled election fraud study, says Washington Post. U.S. lawmakers prepare plan to infuriate China, says Nikkei, or Nikkei, I don't know how that's pronounced. African country clears concerns over Russian base deal, says AP. OPEC chief calls for pause in climate talks. UK holds secret cross-party Brexit summit, says media. British military stretched by effort to arm Ukraine, says media. Food will cost more this year, says a survey. You took a survey for that? Okay. Why would you take a survey for that? That would be like more the question is, do you think food will cost more this year? That's why you would take a survey. I don't know. Anyway, you can bet your ass it's going to cost more this year. It is. I hope we see some relief, and I think we're going to see a little bit of relief in some areas, like eggs and maybe chicken. I think those will come back down to more, realistic prices. But I think they'll still be inflated along with everything else. I don't think you're going to see it go back. I don't think we're going to go back. Zelensky shares photo of Ukrainian soldier with Nazi insignia again, as in not the first time. Hungary slams EU push to arm Ukraine. U.S. officials basically admit they blew up Nord Stream, says Russian FM, and they pretty much have. Russia-Turkey trade doubles, says diplomat. And this is the incident in China. China prepares to shoot down UFOs, says state media. We'll open that up. I don't know if there's, let's see. Yeah, nothing more. Nothing more from earlier. Like I say, it's nothing. Nothing. Mum's been the word. Polish leader warns of Russian victory. German minister urges equal distribution of Ukrainian refugees. And you're going to see the news just drop. Boom. And then that was it. Economic toll of Turkey earthquakes estimated. China announces visit of Iranian president. And that right there speaks for itself. Nations are lining up. It's not a good thing. Elon Musk addresses UFO reports. And the last thing, Chechen leader explains when Russian borders can change. Again, that was 5 hours ago I put that out, and RT hasn't put anything out since. Not as far as their extension. They probably produced articles, but not all their articles go to the little extension thingy. The more important articles do, and then of course the breaking news does. But so yeah, and that's kind of the eerie silence that I was talking about. That's what I've got for you. Once again, I'll ask for prayers for the world and prayers for peace and calmness, not just in the world, but in my mind. Please. Please. This ain't no fun. I'll put it that way. No fun. Anyway, I am going to get out of here. God willing, I'll be back tomorrow to do it again. Hopefully I don't have major video card snafus. And God willing, I'll see you tomorrow night. I hope to see you then. As always, God bless you. We love you. And be one with your spirit. Shalom.